After trying for a baby without success, my boyfriend confessed to me that he got a vasectomy done years ago and didn't want to tell me so I wouldn't break up with him over it. Am I mad for not taking the news very well? Saying that I'm heartbroken and pissed is an understatement. For context, I'm a 29-year-old woman and my now ex-boyfriend is a 34-year-old male. We have been dating for a bit over 7 years. We met through a dating app and we had an instant connection. Early on in the relationship, I wasn't seriously thinking about marriage and kids, but we discussed it. And while I don't care for marriage, I've always been sure I'd like to have 1 to 2 kids, and he was on board with having kids eventually. I stress this because from our very first date, I told him I wanted to have a family. It's very important to me. And if he had told me he didn't want kids back then, I wouldn't have progressed with the relationship. A few years ago, we were both doing great. I working from home and making decent money, and so does he. He had just bought our first home together. We had just bought our first home together. So I suggested we could start trying for kids within the next few years. He was up for it and seemed as enthusiastic as I was. But then, although we were actively trying for a baby, I wasn't getting pregnant.
Well, duh.
I started having severe anxiety over it. I thought there was something wrong with me. I started taking vitamins, eating healthier, exercising more, but I couldn't get pregnant. Not being able to get pregnant severely affected my self-esteem. Why can some people get pregnant despite using birth control perfectly, and I couldn't get pregnant even while tracking my periods and doing everything right? I felt like shit. My boyfriend tried to brush it off, saying that it was okay or that maybe we're just not meant to be parents. And then that would stress how great our relationship was how maybe me not getting pregnant was a sign and that even if we didn't have kids, we could be a dink couple. Dink couple?
Dual income,
no kids. And enjoy life. Now, while there's nothing wrong with being child-free, that's not the life I personally want. If I can't have kids biologically, I'm perfectly fine adopting or fostering. But in the future, I've always envisioned having a family with kids, and that's what I worked my ass off all these years for. Anyway, to cut a long story short, after a year and a half of trying with no success, I decided to visit a fertility clinic and get a few tests done to check my fertility. To my surprise, my test came out completely fine. Then the fertility clinic suggested to bring in my partner to check the quality of his sperm. When I got home, I told him about it. He got visibly nervous and tried to make excuses not to go, saying he was busy, that he was scared of doctors, or that we should just keep trying for a few more years. I got very suspicious because he's normally a bit of a hypochondriac and he's certainly not scared of doctors. After I asked about his weird behavior and I pressed for answers, yes, I know it's wrong. Is it wrong to press?
It's not wrong to press for answers. Definitely not.
He blurted out that he had a vasectomy done 4 years ago.
Wait, they were get together for 7 years and he got a vasectomy 4 years ago. While she made it very clear that she wants kids.
I was baffled and I still don't get it. Before seriously considering kids, we often talked about the future and our hypothetical family. Hell, we'd been actively trying for a baby for over a year. He then told me that he decided against having kids some time ago, but he never told me because he knew that if he had told me, I would have probably broken up with him, which he didn't want. Selfish.
Very selfish.
When I asked him why he didn't tell me while we were trying for kids, knowing how depressed I became over the fertility issues, he said that he hoped that when I saw I wasn't getting pregnant, I would perhaps abandon the idea and that we could just keep the relationship as it was. But she said what she wanted. We had a huge fight. I was very pissed. I felt lied to, strung along. And although I know I'm still pretty young, I was hoping to be a mother before I turned 30. And now all those plans have gone to shit. I told him how now I'd have to start with someone else because he wasted my time. At this point, we're both crying and yelling. He begged me to stay and offered to reverse the vasectomy and try for baby for real. Only now.
Only now.
But I broke up with him on the spot and packed my things. I still love him and I want this more than anything, but I don't think I'll be able to forgive him for lying to me for years over something he knows is so important to me. It's been roughly a week since our fight. I've moved out of the house and now I'm living with a friend temporarily until I figure out the legal house stuff. I had to get a burner phone because mine has been blowing up with calls and texts from him, and his family asked me to please give him another chance and saying that everyone makes mistakes and how he was scared of telling me how since now he's open to having kids, we should get back together and consider counselling, etc. I don't think I can do it. What kind of relationship would we even have if we got back together? I don't want to constantly wonder what else he's lying to me about, but everyone is making me feel like I'm the bad guy for not forgiving him when he came clean to me.
That is mad. So they've been together for 7 years. He got a vasectomy 4 years ago, knowing that she wanted to be a mother. And now it's like, okay, don't worry. Now that you want to leave, let's reverse it so we can actually have kids.
But why didn't he
That
reverse
is so
it
selfish.
when she said, I want to have a baby?
Why did you get in the first place? Because
When she knew she wanted to have a baby.
But you knew, but at the time you knew. You were like, instead of you being straight with her and saying you don't want to have kids, you rather allow this woman to think there's something wrong with her. To the point where she's going to the doctor. And only then do you come clean that, oh, actually, I had a vasectomy. And only now are you willing to have children because you know she's going to leave. That's not a good enough reason to have children. So she should leave you anyway. Because you don't want kids. You want kids to keep her.
Yeah.
Well, God forbid, what if she dies?
Yeah.
Now so you're going to be like, oh my God, now I'm stuck with these kids.
And
that's
you're
what
resentful. Yeah. Yeah, you're not aligned.
You're not aligned. You did the right thing by leaving. Don't go back to him.
Don't.
He's selfish. Clearly.
That's so selfish.
Clearly very selfish. And clearly doesn't want to have kids. Having kids to keep you is not a good enough reason to have kids.
And also, I feel like there's a degree of love that I'm like I feel like he's missing. Because if you know someone wants something, why are you actively being a hindrance towards that?
Yeah.
She said she wanted kids with or without you. Now, if you love her, you know she wants that. Do you know what I mean? You know it's a big part of her life. Why are you now being the hindrance and not even letting her know?
Not even letting her know. That's the worst thing. That's even letting her know.
That is gross. Because she could have done what she... And to be fair, if you were honest with her, at least you're giving her agency to make that decision.
Exactly, making an informed decision. But you didn't even give her that.
That's gross.
And you know, when it comes to like fertility and stuff and having kids, often the first person that people look to for answers is the woman. Like, okay, well, there must be something there must be something wrong with you.
It's true.
No, that poor woman went through.
Thinking it's her body.
It's her body, not even considering that it actually could be him. It's so sad. Only for it to actually be him and him basically using this. He knows that a lot of the time, like fertility issues fall on the women. Like, oh, yes, like I said, like, oh, it's the woman's fault, etc. He knew that, okay, maybe she would just assume that something's wrong with her and then drop it.
Imagine having your woman think that something's wrong with her body because you don't want to come clean. That's so gross.
You're a coward and you're selfish. Sorry.
That's gross. Leave that man, girl. No. Don't let no family nothing, because they're just making up for his bad behavior. Because if I was a family member, I'd be like, well, game, that's what you get. Good, she left you. That's what you get. Because what is that? What is that? No, leave the woman alone. You have no business together. You actually have no business together.
But some men are just actually awful. That is terrible. Since you did the right thing, don't go back, please. Yeah. That just annoyed me. I'm just thinking about like you using something that affects women.
Against women.
Against women. It's just, yeah. Anyway.